at Healesville Sanctuary.
Hey, Monk. We are here to see kangaroos. What's there for lunch today?
Making roti, pickle, and some Greek yogurt.
Tried.
Also,
How is it?
cucumber salad. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, we have methi paratha, juice, cucumber, pickle, and some yogurt. This is our lunch. The light green frog.
Healesville Sanctuary Flight Arena. In 10 minutes' time, you will discover some wonderfully unique, free-flying Australian birds. As they fly in and around the flight arena, you may experience
the amazing adaptations of both parrots and birds of prey and discover one of the changes to make in your life.
To play a part in helping all living things not just survive, but thrive. Hello and welcome to Spirits of the Sky. My name is Jessica.
And I'm Jason, and some of you might know that Australia is known as the land of the parrots. And it's pretty easy to see why. We actually have 56 different species of parrots that live here in Australia. Rosellas, lorikeets, cockatiels, budgerigars, cockatoos, they all form part of the parrot family. We'd like you to meet our first master adapter as she makes an eye-catching entrance. That brilliant white plumage, the soft yellow underneath their wings, and of course, the amazing yellow crest that gives these birds their name. This is a sulphur-crested cockatoo. This one's name is Quasi. And sulphur-crested cockatoos are one of the bird species that have made a real success out of sharing the environment with people. They're very intelligent and popular birds and often seen in large, noisy social flocks. A really familiar sight in the Australian landscape, and I'm sure most of you have seen them already. And if you haven't, don't worry, you will. You'll see them in parks, gardens, golf courses, sometimes even in our busy city streets. But cockatoos like Quasi here, they can live longer than most of us, up to 100 years. Just think about the changes they've seen in the environment in the last 100 years. Imagine the changes they're going to see in the environment in the next 100 years. But can you imagine Australia without them?
Being able to adapt their bright colour. We're going to be meeting a bird that comes all the way from tropical far north Queensland up around the Cape York Peninsula. We're going to have a look at an eclectus parrot, a male, and his name is Les. And when he joins us out here, you can have a look at all the beautiful colours that he's displaying. Here he comes now. So you can see he's got some green and blue on his back. You might be able to down underneath the canopy. She can look up and see all of those beautiful bright colours. Well done, buddy. The males spend most of their time collecting two different species here at the moment. We have the red-tailed black cockatoos over here. This is the male down at the front, a female up behind you. And up here in this high tree, this is a pink cockatoo. Now when he lands, you can see all of those beautiful feathers, pink and orange in his crest. considered one of the most beautiful parrots in the world. I think they're both beautiful. Now these species, even though they look different from each other, what they have in common is that need for those big old growth trees. And as deforestation continues to occur, we're losing our old growth forests, and that means we're losing the homes of those beautiful birds. That's a different type of bird though. We're going to have a look at a nocturnal or nighttime bird of prey. And they have some of the best vision in the animal kingdom. You'll usually only see them at nighttime, but you might be lucky enough to catch a glimpse of one during the day, waiting for night to fall.
Now, most of you realise our nocturnal birds of prey include our owls, and we're lucky enough here in Australia to have 8 species of owls. 4 of those are from the mast owl family. They all have a beautiful heart-shaped face. A really good example of those are the barn owls. You should all get a chance to see the barn owls today. We do have a pair of barn owls in one of our aviaries, and it's well worth your while stopping and having a good look at those. The other 4 owl species we have are from what we call the hawk owl family. They have much more hawk-like features compared to those mast owls. And Millie here, she's actually a barking owl, and barking owls fit into the hawk owl family. So you'll see she does have quite hawk-like features. But what we want you to do is concentrate on some of the adaptations that she has to be very successful at night time. One of them is really obvious. You'll notice she has these really large forward-facing eyes. And although owls have given up the ability to see in colour, they only see in black and white, they still see 35 times better than you and I. They have amazing eyesight. Really useful adaptation for these birds to have. One other thing that helps them is silent flight. They have frayed flight feathers and tiny down hairs on the under... You're having trouble seeing me today, Neil. Frayed flight feathers on the underside of their wings that allows them to glide nice and smoothly through the air without making any noise at all. So they can sneak up on their prey. And that prey would include things like the nocturnal marsupials like possums and gliders. Let's make it real easy for you, Millie. Really easy. You spotted something out the back there that you're not very happy with, so we're going to just make it super easy. I'm over here. Look, can you do that? Thanks.
Sanctuary, and one of the reasons why they're doing okay out there is because they've learnt to nest in structures made by people, places like barns and sheds. While barking owls like Millie still need those tree hollows for survival. Now I reckon it's pretty impressive that any animals have changed to suit us, and I think it's even more important that we as people adapt our ways to help out our wildlife. So for this next part, if you've got your mobile phone on you, maybe grab it out now and have it in your hand. It's going to come in really useful in this next section. I'm going to ask our beautiful sulphur-crested cockatoo, Callista, to help me to explain what it is that you can do to help birds out there in the wild. Because we all know that trees mean habitat for birds, but you might not realise we're flushing millions of trees down our toilets every year as toilet paper. And what we would like you to do instead is to wipe for wildlife, and that means switching to using toilet paper that's made out of 100%.
The next bird we're going to meet is a master mimic. He's a very intelligent bird, this one here. He also thinks he is the star of the show. I'd like to introduce you to Kevin. Kevin's a long-billed corella, and he thinks he's such a star that he deserves his own microphone. So Kev, would you like to say hi? Now Kevin, have you been at the back watching the show? Yeah, good. Today we've been talking about adaptations, and we've already seen some pretty cool adaptations in our birds. But there is one adaptation that all birds have got, and it's really important for most of them. And if you haven't guessed what it is, Kevin is going to show you. Kev, what's the most important adaptation? Wings. They also need their wings to fly around. That's pretty important. And we saw Millie the barking owl out here a little bit earlier. We talked about owls being able to turn their heads in an arc of 270 degrees, which is a lot further than you and I can. But Kevin being the star, he's going to give it a go. Kev, how far around can you see? 360. That's not too bad. But I hope you realise he does cheat. He moves his feet, whereas the owls don't have to move their feet. And speaking of feet, the birds of prey that we're going to look at today, they all use their feet to catch their food. Kevin being a long-billed corella, he actually digs most of his food up out of the ground with that big long beak. But he has got his own pretty fancy footwork. Kevin here can show me his right foot and his left foot. Tough crowd today, tough crowd, that's okay. Kevin and I, we think that's pretty special. We know people that don't even know their left from their right, so I reckon he's doing all right. In fact, if he keeps that up, he's going to be dancing soon. Good job, Kev, well done. Good work. Now, hopefully you all agree with me today. The birds we've seen so far have all been pretty cool, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but all birds are cool, aren't they, Kev? Yeah, that's right. So we need to look after all those birds out there in the wild, not just the ones we've seen here today. Now, because Kevin does think he's the star of the show, I'd like you all to wave and say goodbye. Can you wave and say goodbye to Kev for me, please? Kev, are you going to say goodbye? Good boy. He also expects the loudest round of applause. Big clap for Kevin today. Great job, mate. Well done. Now, luckily for the longest... Wow, great job, Magra. Now, that was close. Whoa. You guys aren't going to get much closer to a wedge-tailed eagle than that. You can see she's really dark. That's because she's an adult wedge-tailed eagle. Wedge-tailed eagles get darker and darker as they get older and older. Now, Magra here is about 26 years old, so she's not going to get much darker than what she actually is now. But if you see a lighter coloured wedge-tailed eagle, maybe a golden brown or a chocolate brown, that bird is likely to be under 7 years old. Whoa. Once they're 7 years old, they start maturing and they start getting a little bit darker each year. Now, birds like Magra have also got amazing eyesight. They can see a moving rabbit from over 1 kilometre away. Rabbits make up a large part of an eagle's diet, but they'll also hunt other things. Happy to hunt other birds occasionally, reptiles, and they're actually capable of hunting mammals up to the size of an adult wallaby all by themselves if they have to. They're incredibly powerful hunters for their size. And like all the other raptors, all the other birds of prey, like the raptors, they use their feet to catch their food. So she has massive feet to cope with some really large prey. Now, birds like the eagles are also very territorial birds, and occasionally we do see a wild pair of eagles that thinks this patch of sky is part of their territory, and they do fly into Magra's airspace. So keep your eyes open for them today. In fact, there was probably one flying up above you all while you're all sitting here waiting. We did hear Magra calling before, which made me think there is a wild wedge-tailed eagle flying around. So keep your eyes open. You might be lucky enough to see them. If you think you've seen one, don't concentrate on just the size. Obviously, she's a massive bird, but if she's flying way up in the sky, it's hard to pick the size of the bird. Best way to identify them is to look at their tails. Even if they're gliding and soaring nice and high up on those thermal currents, you should be able to see that shape, that diamond or that wedge shape in their tail. Now, I'm hoping we're going to get a look at that tail shape. I'm going to call Magra up to this perch over there, over this end here. When she lands up here, you'll see she fans that tail out, and you'll see that shape in the tail that I'm talking about. Max, do you want to come up? When she comes up here, you'll see... Max, come on. This way. You'll see that shape. Now, even if they're gliding, as I said, gliding and soaring way up high, that shape is pretty obvious, and you can identify them fairly easily by that. How about a big round of applause for Mags today? Well done, girl. Thank you. It's probably our most specialised raptor we have here in Australia, and it specialises in catching one particular food source. This is it. This is an osprey. This is Albi, our osprey, and they have extremely well adapted feet for catching fish. That's pretty much all they catch is fish. So their feet are extremely well adapted for catching those really slippery creatures. They have very long, curved, sharp talons on their toes. They act like individual fish hooks so they can grab onto those fish. They have a rough sole of the foot so they can hang on to slippery fish in a locking mechanism in their toe. But the interesting thing is actually how they go about catching their fish, and hopefully we're going to get an example of that today. Molly's made her way out today, and Molly's going to show us how these osprey will catch their fish. She's going to throw a fish into the pond in front of you all there, and hopefully Albie sees that, pulls her wings back, dives all the way into the water. Did she get it? She missed it. Oh no. She missed that fish that time. That's a little bit unusual. We might give her another go. We'll let her fly around. She might come back again shortly, and we might get another chance of her catching another fish. But I wanted to talk to you about the way they go about catching their fish. Now, we do have other raptor species that will catch fish. Things like sea eagles and whistling kites are well known for catching fish, but they literally only skim the surface of the water. So they're only taking fish that are just under the surface of the water. The osprey, you might have noticed there, can dive completely under the water. In fact, ospreys are known to dive as deep as a full metre to catch a fish. Now, catch a fish that is actually weighs, or can catch fish that weigh as much as they do. So they grab a fish from a metre under the water, get to the surface, and then fly away with it. It's actually an incredible feat. It takes a lot of power for a bird to be able to do that. Now, we've just got to wait for Albie to realised that Albie actually missed the fish. I might have mentioned a little bit earlier that they do have a locking mechanism in their toes. So once they've caught the fish, their toes actually lock onto that fish and the fish can't get away. Sometimes Albie thinks she's caught the fish. Actually, you can see there, she's still got one foot clenched. She thinks she's still got a fish there. It'll take her a second or so to look down at that foot and go, oh, I missed. Oh well. Head move from side to side. She'll check things out. What she's doing when she's moving her head from side to side, and when a lot of the... How much longer do you want me to keep talking about your Albie? We were hoping that you'd come down and give it one more go. Now you also might have noticed when she did try and catch that fish, she actually flew past it and then circled back into it. That's all to do with the wind. When any of these raptors are hunting, they use the wind to their advantage, and they don't actually like flying with the wind. They prefer to fly into the wind. It gives them a lot more control. They can really be very precise when they're flying into the wind, and it makes it much better for them. Here we go again. So you watch, she'll circle back around, or she'll just fly straight past and disappear. Now, it might be a good point in time. We'll see if she does come back. It might be a good point in time to let you know that we actually fly Albie last in the last show of the day for a really good reason. Because Albie does whatever Albie wants to do whenever Albie wants to do it. That's totally up to her, and we actually like that about Albie. Albie, quite often, she'll come down and catch her fish, and then she'll stay out for maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 hours. It is literally totally up to Albie, and we like that about Albie. Albie likes to go out and just have a bit of a fly around. So we'll give it one more try. We'll see. She doesn't look particularly keen on the fish today, and that's totally fine. If she wants to go off and have a fly before she comes and catches the fish, we'll let her do that. But we'll just give it one more go. If she turns back right around, we might get another attempt out of her, but if not, we'll just have to wait her out and she'll make her decision when she wants to.
Making that one simple change and switching to using recycled toilet paper. Follow through on that promise and text the word white to the number on the banner, and you'll be giving all of our birds out there in the wild a real helping hand.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed